New York City Mayor Eric Adams has started off the week on a high note, to say the least.
President Donald Trump's Department of Justice has ordered Southern District of New York prosecutors to drop the bribery case against Adams.
In a letter to Manhattan prosecutors, Acting Deputy Attorney General Emil Bove wrote, "You are directed, as authorized by the Attorney General, to dismiss the pending charges." The letter continued, "It cannot be ignored that Mayor Adams criticized the prior administration's immigration policies before the charges were filed, and the former U.S. Attorney's public actions created appearances of impropriety." Bove also said that the case was interfering with Adams' ability to fight the migrant and violent crime crises and his electoral campaign. The U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, however, will get to review Adams' case after the election and restore the charges if necessary. Adams told a Fox reporter on Monday that he wanted to talk to his lawyer before giving a formal response to the news.
Prosecutors had charged Adams in September of last year with conspiracy, wire fraud, bribery, and taking illegal foreign campaign contributions. More specifically, prosecutors alleged that Adams took luxury flights on Turkish Airlines without reporting the benefits. In exchange, Adams allegedly fast-tracked the approval of a new 36-story Turkish consulate in Manhattan.
Here's Trump commenting on the case in December.
I think that he was treated pretty unfairly. Now, I haven't seen the gravity of it all, but it seems, like being upgraded in an airplane many years ago. I know probably everybody here has been upgraded. They see you're all stars, and they say, I want to upgrade that person from NBC. I'm going to upgrade him. He essentially went against what was happening with the migrants coming in. And, he made some pretty strong statements like, this is not sustainable. I said, you know what, he'll be indicted soon. And I said it, not as a prediction, a little bit lightheartedly, but I said it. I said, he's going to be indicted.
Former Obama campaign chief strategist David Axelrod wrote on X, "Here's the new reality. The Department of Justice is now an unofficial arm of the White House political office. Every poll, every business, everyone now knows. If you play ball with POTUS, you'll get a free pass. And if you don't, watch out." Guardian Angels founder and Republican New York City mayoral candidate Curtis Sliwa wrote, "Let's be clear, Eric Adams is corrupt and a disgrace to politics. In his 2021 campaign running against me, Adams took numerous illegal contributions, and about a dozen of his associates have now pled guilty to crimes. His foot soldiers will spend time behind bars while Adams walks free. New Yorkers aren't dumb. Ask yourself, why did those people plead guilty? Were they lying? No, they told the truth. Today's decision by the Justice Department is an insult to the intelligence of the people of this great city."
Meanwhile, Outkick founder Clay Travis wrote, "Trump's Department of Justice is dropping all charges against New York City Mayor Adams. Good move. The case was complete and total garbage." Former Fox News host Geraldo Rivera wrote recently, U.S. Attorney in Manhattan should admit the case against Mayor Eric Adams is weak, lame, political, and should be dropped. Then the mayor can run for re-election against former Governor Andrew Cuomo. So the Curtis Sliwa quote you read, that's from someone who is a arch anti illegal immigration activist person, so not some Dem squish type person, which speaks to the fact that I think there is some legitimate disagreement about doing this on the right. Yes, Eric Adams at some point started talking a stronger game against illegal migration. I don't actually see much evidence that he really tried to use his powers to thwart it and was stopped by the deep state. That seems to be a post facto rationalization he's come up with. It being cited that he was thwarted in his efforts to deal with immigration is why these charges are political. Look, if you want to argue to me that the charges are that what he did was bad but kind of trivial and is not really worth pursuing further, that is an argument I am theoretically open to. The argument that he should not be pursued because this is actually political revenge for taking the strong stance against immigration, that just seems totally disconnected from reality to me. I don't think, from a conservative perspective, I don't think he was delivering on conservative policy. I think they came after him because they had evidence of corruption. Again, if it's kind of trivial, it's not, the Menendez case where there's gold bars stuffed in his shoes or whatever. Maybe it is worth dismissing. I'm open to that argument, but I'm very skeptical.
Yeah, and to your credit, when we have discussed this case previously, you have made the point that there is a danger of, whatever you want to say, MAGA or pro-Trump people becoming easy marks for people who don't in fact believe those views, but mouth them in order to gain some.
Menendez is already doing that. He's already started doing that.
Right, it's saying that he is, like Trump, a victim, and that Trump has correctly identified politicization in the Justice Department.
Yeah.
In Eric Adams' case, of course, he
started doing it immediately.
He did, and he went down to Mar-a-Lago just within the past few weeks to have a visit that was unclear exactly what he was going for, and now he has been, these charges are effectively being lifted against him. I also think, in terms of the introduction that we read, with all due respect to Geraldo and other people of that nature, I think they have a very, very generous interpretation of the case against Eric Adams, as in they think that case is weaker than I think it is. This is not, as Trump said fairly ludicrously, about someone getting an upgrade. This is about years and years of perks being siphoned to someone, and then at a later point that person appearing to be instrumental in doing that country's bidding, doing the bidding of Turkey, in allowing this consulate to open when it did not have the requisite fire checks in place. It's the only building of that size that has apparently been able to do that. So there was, I think the evidence that there was a quid pro quo is very, very clear.
Sure, although then that starts to get into is it just like really, really unnecessarily difficult to build and open new buildings in New York City?
Yeah, but that's everyone?
a separate. You need to find a public official and upgrade their flights is the only way you can get anything built or done in New York City. Unfortunately, I think that would be sad if that's the case.
The most convoluted argument possible for Eric Adams accepting bribes.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it's okay. Let's reform the process and make it easier to build and open new buildings.
Well, maybe. I mean, we can have a debate about the New York City fire codes if you like, but the point about it is that Adams, in the process of apparently trying to conceal these perks, the indictment against him laid out all the kind of bizarre methods they went to, including on one occasion he either sent someone an email or left a phone message suggesting that he had left cash to pay for these flights when he clearly hadn't. And the fake message that he had left the cash was being presented by prosecutors rightly as evidence that he knew he was doing something shady.
I'm still on what I was saying earlier.
All right,
isn't there a whole argument against those ridiculous protective scaffolding things that go up when buildings are being done construction on,
and all that, right?
I'm not broad. I've never lived in New York City, so I'm not super familiar with this. But I believe I've heard arguments that those don't really enhance safety at all, and just make
a
it
mess,
slower and less and more expensive to do new construction in New York. So I've certainly heard arguments against that.
Despite the fact that I have lived in New York City very happily when I first came to the US, I am not an expert on its scaffolding regulations, so we'll have to leave. But I do think that the mayor shouldn't be accepting bribes, allegedly.
No debate there. Coming up next on Rising, we will discuss Trump's plans for Gaza Lago. Stay tuned.